Let's get into this. Okay, fine. Let's leave this. Calm down.
Yeah, that's why I said.
Now, go on your phone, find Surah 33 verse 6, and then come back to me. You're a horrible Muslim. You can't defend Muhammad. You can't defend Muhammad. You touch me too. So you are equally as wrong as me. You touched me in the chest and the neck. So you touched me, so you are as bad as me. Explain how it didn't.
You see that? They don't want
you can't read.
You go to the verse.
So you kept
they go to the verse.
The same line
they go to the verse
again.
They go to the verse.
Because you don't even have a first grade education.
Let him finish.
Again, go to Surah 33 verse 6. It says the following. I will say it again for the 10th time. It says this. It says that the prophets, his wives, are the mothers of the believers. Muhammad himself is a believer. Therefore, he married his own mothers 13 times, including a 9-year-old. Wow. So it's pedophilia, it's incest. Yo, man, it's yucky. I wouldn't follow him. I'd rather follow Genghis Khan or Napoleon than him.
Are you done?
Again, prove that your prophet didn't commit incest. Go.
So his false claim that he's going to the right here, he bring his receipt. He bring a verse. I said, shit. 1 second.
He's calling for help because he can't defend Muhammad by himself.
The current justice here.
Go ahead.
1 second. I'll bring it back.
Surah 33, verse 6. Go for it.
So he brings his receipt. It's all right to look at his receipt.
Talk to me. Talk to me. Face me.
How are these kids?
Face me.
He should be speaking.
Face me.
All right, speak again.
Good boy.
Speak again. Speak again.
All right. Let's do it again, guys. Surah 33, verse 6. Go find it, please. Hurry. It says the following. It says that Muhammad, his wives, are the mothers of the believers. Now, Muhammad himself is a believer. Yes, he's a prophet, but also a believer. Yes. Muhammad isn't a prophet and a disbeliever. Unless you admit that. He's a prophet and a believer. Therefore, he meets the category where, by the virtue of the fact that he's a believer, his wives are then subsequently his mothers. Yes. Now, he had anywhere between 11 and 13 of them. And one was even 6 years old when he married her, and 9 when he did whatever to her. So that would then mean that Muhammad committed incest anywhere between 11 to 13 times, including with a minor. That's mad.
Wow.
We married even though
So, prove to me that he was not a incestuous pedophile. Go on, help me out.
I'm set you up. We're gonna be let us people tired.
I never get tired. I never get tired. I tell people out. That's what I do.
I'm trying to get some big cook.
Not in the 7th century. Not in the 7th century.
No, we talk about, let's say, go back to those Greeks.
Okay.
You should look at this man. So what is...
Let this man, he's speaking with him.
Go on, help Muhammad. Save Muhammad for us. Muhammad's reputation rests on you. Save him. I'm a coward. I always stand still. You're the one who gets angry. What's up grabbing me? You're the one who's scared.
Don't get interrupted. Go on, bro.
If you were bold, you would stand still.
I'm gonna put time on something now.
Okay. How long do you want? How long do you want? 2 minutes? How long do you want?
Are you done?
How long do you want?
Are you done?
Huh?
Are you done?
One more time for the guys in the back. Surah 33 verse 6 says the following. Yes. It says that Muhammad's wives are the mothers, the mammies, the madres of the believers. Yes. Muhammad himself is a believer. Therefore, that would mean that Muhammad married his own wives anywhere between 11 to 13 times, including one that was indeed a minor. Help Muhammad.
Right, no interruptions. Take your time. Slowly.
I have to do slow because at the break.
Yeah, let him go slowly and no one interrupt him.
So his false claim, false claim, and conclusion. He brings 233 verse 6. That's the same verse gonna use. That's his receipt. I'm only gonna look at his evidence. I'm not going nowhere else. His conclusion is not aligned with evidence. That's why he bring the verse and he quickly starts speaking commentary, other stuff that's his commentary. Yes, not to bring the verse. The prophet is more worthy. The prophet is more worthy of the believers. You see what they call it? Destruction.
Please continue. Continue, please. David, come on.
This is destruction.
David, please.
Because you're going to expose them. They have many problems. They can't even read simple English. And they're grown ass man. The prophet is more worthy of the believers. Right up this point, clearly, with that statement alone, I put a distinction between him and the believers that the verse is talking about. So any message further in the verse to believers is still not talking about prophet. Because it separates them. I bet my whole account, and you get the best English teacher, they will tell you yes. But these people have a study, so they don't know. The prophet is more worthy of the believers than themselves. See, there's no footstep there, than themselves. And his wives are in the position of their mothers. You see, the there, it's talking about relative reading now in English. The there is linked to the believers up top here that it's talking about. The there, relative reading, the believers than themselves. The there is in relation to those believers. It's called relative reading, you moron. Yes? So that means the distinction still lies to the believers that's talking about from the prophet. In this verse, in this message. Yes? Than themselves and their mothers. So it's not talking the prophet mothers, it's not talking about the prophet as a believer, because the verse put a distinction from the beginning and the message is in the same verse. I don't need to explain nothing more. It's
You haven't answered the question if you asked.
So did you understand the answer?
They don't, that's how students don't get it.
Explain what the answer says.
You need another 2 minutes.
That's how students don't get it.
Okay.
I know you don't even get it either. None of them get it. None of them don't get it.
Right, let's see if he understood the answer.
He's an Englishman, it's embarrassing, this Englishman don't get it.
Okay, 1 minute. Why are you getting, don't get distracted. You've had 2 minutes. Let him answer.
Simple answer.
You got 2 minutes to answer, please.
David, please.
Yes.
Did you
I
understand?
don't say nothing more.
Let's see.
So, ladies and gentlemen, he is telling me that there's a distinction between the prophet and the believer.
In the verse.
Sure, all the believers are prophets, but all the prophets are believers. You can have two titles or two distinctions applied to one individual at once. So Muhammad is simultaneously a believer and the prophets. So, and the verse when the gentleman just read in the verse, he read the word in the position of. That terminology does not exist in the Arabic. So he added to the text. He is doing the very thing the Quran says that the Jews do in Surah 2 verse 79. So the problem still remains. Muhammad is a believer. In fact, he is the chief of the believers. And if the wives of Muhammad are the mothers of the believers, that would encompass a range of people, including the believers and the prophets. So he married his own mothers 13 times, including one that was a 9-year-old. Can you help him? Please.
Okay, I got it.
And look, wait 1 minute.
The verse is saying that the mother's wife or the mothers of the other believers mentioned in the verse.
Oh, the other.
Not the prophet.
Let me see the other.
All other believers in exception to the prophet because of the distinction. The verse is saying that.
Okay, that's good.
But if I don't understand English, I can't explain to you.
No, he's saying to us sincerely.
Wallah, any money, come, let's
Where
go.
does it say other? Where does it say other?
Let's go.
Let's break it down for our friend over here.
No, let's get English to right now. Let's get some money.
Is Muhammad a believer?
I bet £500 now. Come, let's get English.
Is Muhammad a believer?
You're moron. It's English.
Is Muhammad a believer?
You're speaking outside of the verse
Is
context.
Muhammad a believer?
Yes, obviously.
Okay. People, Muhammad's a believer. Okay, good. Now, his wives are the mothers of the believers. If Muhammad is a believer, then he also falls under the line of those who would call his wives their mothers. So Muhammad married his mothers.
The verse is an exception. Taking out of the context of the believer that's talking. The verse clearly, yes. The verse clear.
Muhammad a believer.
So the message in that verse is not for him as a believer. It's for the other believer.
Are his mothers, are his wives, the mothers of all those who believe in the last day? That he married. Are they the mothers of those who believe
in the verse? In the verse, when someone is a believer, he's talking all the believers except the prophet, because the decision in the same verse. But it does.
Read Surah 33 verse 6, please. All right, there you go. So, again, my friend, now, the distinction being here, like I said before, Muhammad is a prophet and a believer. Not all the believers. They don't get it. The distinction is simply in the station.
Go get English lesson, bro.
Muhammad, as believing in Allah and the last day, is still supposed to be a believer. So that would then mean
you fail English exam.
Married his wife.
You fail English exam, obviously.
And then his wives that he married are his mothers. Because the wives are the mothers of the believers that include Muhammad.
You fail English. Go sit the English class.
So you've done two things. You added words to the text that aren't there in the Quran. You added the word in the position of. That's not there in the Arabic. So you lied, first of all, right? So you may have that's your first mistake, right? Good job to hear. Well done. And the second thing is you're adding additional words to the text that aren't there. So on a plain reading of the text, Muhammad is a believer.
I don't know if you understand me. But they're sincere people.
Again, sincere people. The distinction is one of station, not one of.
You got no sense, man.
For example,
you don't know.
Imagine if I said,
you know relative meaning. You know relative meaning.
Imagine if I said,
relative meaning. Relative meaning. You don't know what's relative reading. You don't know this term.
Imagine if I said Muhammad is the worst human being ever, right? Or the prophet is the worst human being ever. Now, Muhammad is a prophet and also a human being. So that means that everything that applies to him applies to him.
He brings receipt and he's running away from his own receipt.
No, I'm not, because you can't Arabic.
He brings his own receipt. No, but you speak English, I'm speaking English.
Okay, and what you're doing wrong, let me help you here.
The English, what English say?
As a Christian,
I know what the English say.
Let me help you here.
I bet you
with how you understand Islam. In Islam, when you have text that's in brackets,
you don't know English.
You aren't supposed to read it. Okay, now read it without brackets. Read it without brackets.
Those are changes.
Read it without brackets.
It's an article.
Read it without brackets.
Those are changes.
Go ahead. Read it without brackets. Go ahead. Read it.
The prophet.
Go ahead. Good job. Good job. Keep going. Keep going. Good job. What's this?
It's scared. You don't want me to speak.
The prophet.
Hey, shut up.
All right. Let me help you. Okay.
No, don't.
I can read better. Let me help you.
Tell her this.
You're reading stuff, so that's right. So, the prophet is more worthy of the believers than themselves, and his wives are their mothers. So, if the prophet is more worthy of themselves, if the wives of
you don't know distinction in verse,
mothers,
you don't know relative reading, go do an English class. You weren't ready for me, I'm a level.
Believer,
you don't know
that would mean that his wives are
every time I debate him, I defeated him. Every time.
Why you always run?
Every time I defeated him.
When you defeat somebody, you don't run.
Look at him. You see why? There's empty boy make most nice.
He can't help you. Only I can.
Empty boy make the most nice.
He can't help you. Only I can. So get over here. All right. So, my friend, you need to leave this incestuous religion and come back to the Lord of God. Jesus Christ didn't sleep with his mothers. Okay?
Just
that would mean
just implement his own mother.
He didn't sleep with his mother because Muhammad does it 13 times.
Is the Holy Spirit?
Sorry?
Is Christ the Holy Spirit at one?
Are one in what way?
Is Christ the Father and the Holy Spirit at one?
In what way?
Is Christ the Father and the Holy Spirit at one?
In what way?
They are one essence.
Yes.
One being.
Huh?
They are one being.
Absolutely. What's the purpose?
So Christ the Holy Spirit, Christ the Holy Spirit and the Father are one being in essence. You heard it.
Yeah.
In Matthew, he says the mother of Christ was begotten with child, begotten with to have sex, by the way, by the Holy Spirit.
No, doesn't. Prove that, please. Prove that in a dictionary, please. Prove it. Prove it.
Begotten with to have sex.
Prove it, please. Prove it. Let's look at the dictionary.
You heard him. Christ sex is his own mother. I can't him. Christ sex is his own mother.
Even better.
There's conclusion.
Even better. Go to the interlinear and look at the Greek. Even better. Either one you want.
We are going to.
So already we've proven that Muhammad is an incestuous pedophile, which is great. Now move on. We have.
Because
you haven't been able to tell me exactly why.
All I do is expose you.
So, wait. Okay.
All I do is expose you.
I'll end it in this way.
All I do is
in order for you to prove that Muhammad didn't marry his own mothers,
I bet
you have to do two things.
I bet him
either
why can he take
disagree with the verse
that says
that Muhammad's wives are the believer's mother, mothers,
He's a moron.
or prove or agree
I expose that
that
you're gonna
Muhammad
find
is a disbeliever.
He's begging it.
Again,
He's begging
one of the
it.
following.
He's begging it.
Either prove that Muhammad is a disbeliever,
Are you begging it?
or prove that
He's
his
begging it.
wives are not the
Charlton, you want
mothers
Charlton?
of believers.
Are you done?
You have one of two options.
Are you done?
On this verse.
Are you done?
The only way you can worm out of it is by proving
No, it's not.
either Muhammad is a disbeliever or his wives are not the mothers of believers. In either way, the Quran's wrong. So which one will you choose?
This guy's a clown.
Which one?
This guy's a clown.
Choose one.
Are you done?
Choose one.
Are you done?
Choose one.
You want a response?
Choose one.
You want a response? Okay. So the same answer. This is his receipt. He go to verse Surah Azab, verse 6. To say this is his receipt why he said that he's talking about prophet and he's a believer and his wife or his mother. But the verse clear at the beginning put a distinction between the believers that he's talking and the prophet himself. So any message in the same further verse is not talking the prophet as a believer in that context. But you have to have good reading English comprehension skill to see this. If you have a poor English reading comprehension skill, you can't see it. I can't help you, but I can pay for you to take an English lesson. That's all I can do. The verse is clear. The prophet is more worthy of the believers. Distinction between him and the believers that they're talking about, you moron, than themselves. And his wives, the prophet's wives, are in the prophet's wife are in the portion.
No, don't read that.
The prophet's wife, you read the bucket and the same thing. The prophet's
That's for
wife,
the Arabic. Don't lie.
did you read Arabic?
I know better Arabic than you. That is not something. I know that is not
The
Arabic.
prophet's wife, the prophet's wives,
R.
the prophet's wife,
Definitively.
the prophet, listen, I'm reading. The prophet's
You're
wife,
doing well. You're doing well.
the prophet's wives are.
R. Yeah.
There.
There.
No, there's no.
Mothers. Hey. Okay. Well done. Well done. You can read. Well done. Again, the prophet is a believer. He is a prophet, but also a believer.
He's reading back.
That would then mean that his wives, being the mother of the believers, are his own mother.
Which believers? Which believers? Which believers?
All of them. Including Muhammad.
No, the only one that mentioned in the verse that the distinction placed upon
Okay.
against between them and the prophet.
Which believers are mentioned in the verse? Which
same-
one? Which believers?
The same verse,
Which believers are mentioned in the verse?
all of the believers except the prophet. That's what he's talking about.
Show me the word except over there. It's not there. Okay, well done.
No,
You done well.
he's begging. The prophet,
You done well.
listen, the prophet is more worthy of the believers, plural. No,
Including him, right?
there's no comma, no full stop. But the statement right here, look at this thing.
Doesn't
I'm
include himself.
I'm speaking. Right there, any English to tell you is a distinction placed between the prophet and all those believers. Clearly from the jump.
The
From the jump.
distinction is only one of station, that's all.
No,
Of station.
I want to identify.
For example,
Well, identity.
very simple. Not every believer is a prophet,
It's a moron.
but every prophet is a believer.
See, I know Englishman here. No, bring any English person, tell you. All right? Any Englishman bring it.
Some of the English.
No,
Some of the English.
He's an Englishman. Yeah, he's an Englishman here. Lana is sincere. Lana is sincere. No, they could be Christian. They could be Christian. They could be Christian. Lana, they can read and they're sincere. They tell you.
No matter
You don't know
what
this.
kind of
It does matter, you moron.
application you want to put on the text, Muhammad is a believer.
It's there.
Therefore, unless he's a disbeliever,
Distinction.
that would then mean
Distinction.
that his wives are his mothers,
Distinction.
and according to the Quran, you
Distinction.
cannot
In
marry
the same
and have
verse,
sex with your mother.
distinction between
But
him
Muhammad doesn't.
and the believers that the verse is talking about.
Okay, what's
what
the
is there.
distinction?
Can you understand it? Do you understand English? Do you understand it? Do you understand English? Okay. So it's not what sister now. The prophet is more worthy of the
Because to
believers.
answer the question, you have to
The believer
deny
from
one
the
of two
statement.
things. You have to
It
deny
separates
that
them.
he is a believer,
So,
or deny that the lie is
no, English. I'm actually reading English. Read the verse. The verse. This is his evidence. Read the verse. Read the verse. This is his evidence. Read the verse. Continue. You understand English? The prophet is more worthy of the believers. This thing doesn't mean separate the believers and stack them.
Hey, Jamaican dude, get over
Read the
here.
verse.
You're still
You say
running
you
from
understand
me.
English.
You're still
Are you going to
running
be
from
dishonest because you're Christian? You say you understand English. The prophet is more worthy of the believers. There's no comma. Than themselves. Themselves is meaning the same believers.
His wife's are more special.
You look at the verse. You can't sincerity, no sincerity. I tell you, he's a different Christian from them. I tell you, he's a different Christian from them. No sincerity. That's why this is unbelievable. Read the verse, read this in front of you. You understand English? English, you say you understand English, read it. The prophet is more worthy of the believers. So that's not the point. No. The point is the distinction remain all the way through. Is the distinction remain all the way through.
Muslim, get over here. You're running from me.
It's not a,
Yo, Jamaican Muslim with a gray hair. Get over here. You're running from me.
all other believers of the distinction. The person
Dude with the dry lips, with always on the lips, come back to me. We're having a conversation.
in the verse.
Because he can't debate me.
All the mothers after the
Something
believers.
about staring me in the eyes is scary. I don't know what it is.
Yes.
His wife's are more special. They want to run.
I am still waiting for you, grey-head
His
Patois.
argument is that it's in the verse. He's saying that mean the wives are also the mothers.
Yo, the guy who can read more than 1 second or 1 second. Come back to me,
that you
please.
agree with him. That you still agree with him. He's saying
I'm still waiting for
he's saying that mean
you.
the prophet. That mean the prophet is the wife is the mothers of him also. That's why he's saying. The believers in
I'm
this
still
verse
waiting for you to make
pushing a
a
distinction in the verse between them and the prophet.
Distinction is that
You can't run from me. I'm still here.
There's a distinction in the verse between the prophet and the believers.
You can't run from me, Jamaican guy. I'm still here. Don't run from me. I'm still here. Gray-head Jamaican guy. I'm still here.
So the message is here. Yes, it. So the message in the verse.
So
The believers in the verse.
you're still running from me.
The message is not for the prophet as a believer, but only for the
Hey,
believers.
the cameraman will not help you. You must
The
come
prophet
to
is more
me
worthy of
and
the
then
believers
we'll talk.
than themselves. And the believer is
And that would mean that Muhammad himself is a believer.
He's not talking the prophet as a believer in this message.
Is Muhammad a believer?
So it says
Yes.
the wife are in the portion of their mothers.
If Muhammad is a believer,
not the
then that
prophet.
would mean that his wives are his mothers.
Yes. Yes, so the prophet is more worthy
So,
of the believers
ladies and gentlemen,
than themselves.
it would appear that our Patois friend here
So the same as
is
Scotty.
going away from the conversation
And his wives
because he's
are
afraid to answer it. Now, to give you a summation of what I have said probably about
in the
18
portion
times now.
of the mother.
Muhammad's wives are the mothers of the believers.
Yes.
So it says in Surah 33, verse 6. Then it says, or we know that Muhammad is a believer. In fact, he is the chief of believers, according to the Quran. So therefore, if the believers, Muhammad included, have mothers who are the wives of Muhammad, that would then mean
then the wife are
that
in the portion
Muhammad
of the-
married and had sex with his wives, including the 9-year-old. Now, that activity
couldn't believe
is not only incestuous, but also pedophilia. So,
the father is a believer.
now there's an issue. If you can
She can't
believe
be. She
these
be a mother
things
of her own father.
are the man you
She's
follow,
not talking about
I would
that.
leave him behind and embrace Christ, who did not have sex with his mothers. So,
Well, see, there is.
it's simple as this. If you're actually on the truth, then I would encourage you guys to come over and check out Jesus. Read Matthew, read Mark, read Luke, and read John. And no need to follow this guy or his prophet who will run from conversation. Now, his argument, by the way, to be fair, his counter-argument was one of distinction. So yes, absolutely, there's a distinction between the prophet and the believers. But the distinction is not one in terms of belief, because the prophet will also be categorized as a believer. The distinction is in his station. Not every believer is a prophet, but every prophet is a believer. That's the only distinction being made there. But he is implying that somehow Muhammad in that phrase is excluded from what follows for the believers. No, he's not. It's not there, and he can only prove it by either reading words that are in brackets, which number one aren't in the Arabic, or adding additional context to a verse that is not there. If I remember correctly, the Quran critiques the Jews for apparently adding in words into their book, and now he's doing the same thing. So, my Patois Muslim, can you help Muhammad or not?